and welcome to the Epic Marketing Show. Boy, I am super excited about today's video because I'm going to be showing you exactly how we build and kind of create the plan for campaigns in Infusionsoft. So this is one that if you're an Infusionsoft user or you've just started using Infusionsoft, you definitely shouldn't miss. I am so excited that I actually got my The Boss mug out just to kind of remind myself exactly how cool all of this is. So I'm stupendously excited about this entire process. So make sure that you have got yourself a really nice cup of something. I have a delicious Choco-mint Rooibos. No caffeine for me today to make sure that I can get all the juicy details to you. So pop off, make sure you've got something nice, and let's get started. All right, so how do you go about building campaigns in Infusionsoft and making sure that you are planning them correctly? How do you make sure that you're building a campaign in the best way possible? Because let's face it, there are 50 million ways to skin a cat inside Infusionsoft, and that can lead to a lot of frustration and confusion, but it can also lead to a lot of experts squabbling with one another. So I prefer not to do that. I prefer to instead create the plan, and the plan will dictate exactly how you need to build something. So I'm going to be taking you through the 13-step process that we use to build and sort of plan all of our campaigns for our clients and our customers, and also for ourselves. And I'm going to be making that all available to you today. I'll be mapping it all out so that you can see exactly all the steps we go through. And I'll be giving you a little something at the end as well. So make sure you follow all the way through to the end. And if you have any questions about the process at any point, just pop them in the comments and I'll make sure we get back to you as soon as possible. All right, so let's get started. So first and foremost, when you're building campaigns in Infusionsoft, weirdly, the first step is to make sure you're not in Infusionsoft. So you want to make sure that you've got clarity and space to do this. So I recommend that the first part of the planning process you do either offline on pen and paper, or you do it in some kind of other thing that is not Infusionsoft. Just ignore Infusionsoft for the first part of the process. I know that sounds weird, but stick with me, you'll understand why. So the first thing you want to do is you want to set the purpose. Okay, so you want to be really clear on what the purpose is of this campaign that you are going to be building. Now, you're always going to have a primary purpose, which is the end goal. It's what you want the campaign to do. And you may also additionally have a secondary purpose. For instance, the end goal of the campaign may be to sell a specific product, so you want someone to purchase something. That is the end goal. But a secondary purpose may be to engage people, to show that you're an authority, to show that you have cool products, create awareness, that kind of thing. A secondary purpose could also be that there is an upsell or downsell at the end of the campaign as well. So make sure that you set the purpose of your campaign, because this is kind of like your lighthouse for everything. Your purpose is going to dictate the flow of the campaign and all that kind of stuff, and you need to make sure that you're always sticking to the purpose and not deviating away from it. If you find that you are getting a lot of secondary and tertiary purposes, just warn yourself that you're trying to do too much with one campaign. Most campaigns that succeed only have a primary or a secondary purpose, and they don't generally tend to have tertiary purposes. If you find that you're getting tertiary purposes, you're doing too much with one campaign. Second, once you have made sure that you've got the purpose, the next thing you want to be doing is looking at the big picture. Okay, so for example, your big picture could be that you, and the big picture is the process that you want people to go through. So the big picture could be that someone signs up for something, you send them a little bit of stuff, and then they buy something. Okay, so that is the big picture. And the reason we do the big picture that big, this is the 10,000-foot view, is so that you can identify the goals and the sequences, and this is how. So let's say they sign up, and you send stuff, and they buy, right? Like really super big picture. The big picture allows you to go, the sign up is something that your customer has to do. And a sign up is generally done through a web form. So at that point you have your web form. That is your goal, right? In Infusionsoft, that would effectively be the goal that you would drag out and put on the canvas. Secondarily, you're going to be sending stuff, and sending them stuff is what you would do within a sequence. And then the end point is for them to buy something. Oh, but it's very wonky. It's for them to buy something, and that again is another goal. And you might have something like you send them stuff, if they click, you offer them this, and then they buy, whatever the case is. You want to do your 10,000 foot view. It's the really, really big view, okay? And that will help you identify what your goals are and what your sequences are. And that brings us very neatly onto number 3. And number 3 is going deeper. So it's now taking this big picture and expanding and kind of going further in and identifying exactly what you're going to do within these processes. So once you've got the big overview, that's when you can go down into the little detail, and you can now go and expand on each of these points that you've got from the big picture. So you might say for sign up, this is what my sign up form is going to include. In the send stuff, people are going to be signing up for a PDF. So we're going to have a landing page with a little form, and then it's going to go through to a thank you page, and this is, you know, blah, blah, blah. So now you've got 3 things for sign up. When I send stuff, I'm going to be sending them a PDF. I'm going to be sending them 6 emails. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. So you kind of got a little bit more detail on the sending stuff. And then the buy, you might say to yourself, I need an order form. I need to make sure it's connected to e-commerce, and I'm using a certain shopping cart. And then I'm going to be offering a payment plan, and there's going to be a thank you email that goes out and the delivery. So at that point, you get to start going deeper and expanding on things, and that's going to help you identify all the little parts of the campaign. Once you've gone deeper and you've expanded, we get to number 4. And at number 4 is when you actually start to map it all out. And when you map it all out, this is your opportunity to start taking all the information that you've got here and go into a little piece of software. So you can do this with pen and paper, and you can literally just draw like I've drawn here. So we're going to do this, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do this, and kind of draw the entire process out in a flowchart. Or you can go into a program like Draw.io, or our personal favorite is Lucidchart. It's what we use internally, and we map out the entire process, and we know now what all the constituent parts are because we've done the big picture, we've gone deeper and we've expanded, and now we're starting to get an idea of what the entire process looks like. Once you've mapped it all out, now is the time to go, what if? Okay, so you're going to go and have a look at this flow that you've got, this flow chart that you've created, or the system that you've created, and you're going to go, what if they don't buy? What if they don't buy? What am I going to do then? What if they do buy? What am I going to do then? What if they don't click? What if they don't open the emails? What if they do click? What if they do click but don't buy? And so you're going to start adding slight behavioral elements into the process by asking yourself, what if? And just what if each of the sequences and each of the action items, so all the emails and that kind of stuff. Put yourself through that process because it'll allow you to optimize the campaign that you're creating. And based on what you've got out of what if, you want to go then and tweak the map to make sure that it's the best campaign that it can possibly be. The other thing you want to be looking at in the what if section is what we call the buckets. And so the buckets are basically any gaps and holes that you've got in the campaign. And it's basically just making sure that you've got something that catches the people who aren't doing things and those who are doing things, but maybe aren't doing the things that would be considered the primary purpose of the campaign. So once you've gone and done the what if and you've put your buckets in place and you've tweaked everything and you feel like you've got a really, really clear picture of what's going on, it's time to move on to number 6. And number 6 is really just reminding yourself of the purpose. So you're going to ask yourself, does it fit the purpose? Because what we find is when people move into a planning phase and they get super excited about stuff, what they tend to do is they'll go and create a whole bunch of things that don't actually fit the purpose. And because they don't fit the purpose, they end up having a campaign that doesn't kind of do the thing that they wanted it to do, and it doesn't perform very well, unsurprisingly. But you'll be surprised how often that happens, and it's a trap that we catch ourselves in every now and then as well when we're creating our own campaigns. So in number 6, you're going to go back and ask yourself, does it actually fit what I originally wanted it to do? Once you're really clear that it actually does do what you want it to do, we move on to number 7, which is making sure that it's for humans. You want to humanize it. Okay, so you want to go and have a look at your campaign and you want to go, do you know what? Does this actually account for real human behavior? And one of the most important things to look at is to make sure that all the things that you are suggesting are the sort of things that your ideal customer would do. So for instance, one of the things that you can do is to look at micro moments. So the little moments on a day-to-day basis that they may be in. If you are sending out super lengthy emails with super lengthy videos, for instance, and your target audience is really busy moms, well, they might not have enough time to actually go and read that, and they might prefer bite-sized little chunks of information instead. So humanize the process by making sure that you're taking behavior into account, making sure that you're understanding exactly who your target audience is. And secondarily, you want to make sure that you're accounting for all the sorts of little bits of behavior. Things like people won't open every single email inside your series. Are you tracking engagement? Are you keeping an eye on those lead and lag indicators? Are you making sure that it is the kind of thing that a real human being would do? Okay, so you want to humanize the entire campaign. On to number 8. And number 8 is all about making sure that you have identified all of the moving parts. Okay, these are things like identifying the assets. This is all the stuff from the machination phase of our army video. So make sure that you go and have a look at our internal process that we use to get the best out of marketing automation. But it's identifying the assets and the content that you need to create. It's identifying the skills. It's identifying the tools that you're going to need to use and who is going to do all of that. So now you've got your plan, you've got it all set out, and now you've got to identify all of those moving parts and make sure that they're actually actionable and that people can go away and create it and that you can make this campaign happen. And then, of course, setting some time scales to it. Okay? So that is identifying all of the moving parts. And once you've done that, you can move on to number 9. And number 9 is when you go away and you make all of that stuff happen. So that is actually creating all of the stuff. So here's the deal. You're almost at number 10 and you haven't touched Infusionsoft once yet. And that is the most important part of this process. People tend to get really excited and go straight away and build the stuff in Infusionsoft, and you have to make sure that you don't do that straight away. You need to make sure that you plan everything first. Here's why. Infusionsoft is kind of almost without boundaries. It is only limited by your imagination. That can make it a very overwhelming place. But that also means that there are more than likely parts of Infusionsoft that do things that you didn't know that it could do. So if you are doing all of this inside Infusionsoft, you are limiting your business. You are limiting your creativity. There are plugins that can push Infusionsoft way beyond what you think Infusionsoft will be able to do. So make sure that you create all of this and do all of this outside Infusionsoft so that you don't limit yourself to what you feel Infusionsoft can and can't do. Okay, it's really important. Also, when you go away and create the content, you may find that you need to tweak things ever so slightly. Make sure that it still fits the purpose and that you are not inviting a whole bunch of scope creep in, but you want to make sure that you create everything outside of Infusionsoft first because it may change the structure of the campaign a teeny bit. And it's only once you have created everything that you can go into Infusionsoft and build. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so this is the exciting bit. You get to go in and you get to build everything and put it together. I say that's the exciting bit because that's the bit I like, but I think other people may disagree with me. But now you get to build, and I'm so excited. I'm going to make little stars next to it. All right, so you're building everything, and once you've built it all, number 11, quite honestly, one of the most important ones, you're going to test. You're going to test the damn thing to death, okay? You're going to test it until you're lying underneath your desk sobbing because you don't want to look like a silly sausage because your campaign doesn't work. Okay, so make sure that you test it. Please, please. Save the kittens. Test your campaigns. Once you've tested everything and you're sure it works and it fits the purpose and everything is in there, you can move on to number 12, which is launch. All right? Exciting. Launching the campaign, making it live and sending it out into the world. My best piece of advice when you launch the campaign is to make sure you are paying attention to your lead and lag indicators. Make sure that you're getting the most out of the kind of easy reporting capability that Infusionsoft gives you. Make sure that you are watching the open rates and the click rates and kind of steering where your campaign goes for the most amount of success, okay? And then set a time limit on it. Set a time limit of like a couple of months or whatever you want to do, depending on how long your campaign is. And once that time limit expires, it is time to go back. And this is probably the most powerful part of the process, because it's time to go back and assess. You're going to take all of the information and all of the kind of little KPIs and all that kind of stuff, and you're going to assess how the campaign performed. You're going to do a post-mortem. You're going to pull the thing to pieces. Okay, you're going to dissect it, and you're going to kind of then build some recommendations, and you're going to optimize and improve the campaign. And please go and watch the Army video if you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to recommendation, because the Army video is going to take you through our methodology to make campaigns super successful in Infusionsoft. These are the 13 steps to implementing a campaign, and it's very important to notice that it's only here at number 10 that we're actually going into Infusionsoft. The rest is done outside of Infusionsoft. It's super important because people tend to kind of get weighed down by the possibilities and all that kind of stuff in Infusionsoft, and it means that they don't end up creating a campaign that will actually do everything that you want it to do. Now, here's the little thing that you can have. I've actually put this together in a little PDF for you, so you can go ahead. There is a link below to both the Army video and the free PDF, which you can go ahead and download. And if you like, there's a little series as well that goes with it to help make sure that you are creating campaigns in the best way possible in Infusionsoft. So that is on me, little free tip for being awesome for you, little free toolkit. Okay, so go and grab yourself that. It's a little, like, you know, checklist to make sure that you're going through everything correctly. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. We like hearing what you're up to because we're goddamn nosy. And then, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and like the video if you like it. It's always a nice little pat on the back for me. This is our kind of way that we build campaigns. I love hearing from you about how you build them as well. So let us know. And if you have any questions, you know, feel free to ask. If you want help building your campaigns in this way, and if you'd like us to do it for you, there are many ways that we can work together. So pop me an email at kenda@automationninjas.com. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Until then, go forth and be epic.